Hi there. My name's Pierre White for As We Heal Each Other. This is going to be part 2 of having a reading. Yes, having a reading, aka fortune telling, whatever you want to call it. This is part 2. What's going to be said here is for entertainment purposes only. So, here it goes. As I said in the other video of my reading, my first time, this one's the second one, and I go to someone else. This is a male. Most people down here would know him. His name, I'm going to even say his name because he is passed. He was a good friend. He became a good friend. And he also would love for me to brag about him. So I'm going to let you know what happened. His name's Normand Giroir. He lives in a town near here. And what happened is, as I said to the other video, that I started to go, not by choice. I went to a reader, and it happened that after a while, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 times, I should say, she started to take the session as if we were going to be best friends, and she was talking about her cats and, as I said, and her family. So it became not a reading for me. So I decided to see someone else that I kept on hearing his name. So here's Norman. Norman, if you would be down here, my mom, my adopted mom, would call him my boyfriend because I used to go see him once a year. Oh, you went to see your boyfriend again, did you? So it was just a joke. All right, it wasn't anything romantic or boyfriend. It was just I went to see another guy. So anyways, get back to where I'm going. So here we are. I'm going to see Norman. I'm driving on the highway. And here I'm hearing, while I'm driving, the name Marcia. 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 Okay, it's in French, Marcia. And I'm thinking, why am I hearing that name? I've never heard the name before. Why would I hear it now? So I'm still driving, and all of a sudden I get flashes of this and flashes of that, and it's like, what's going on? I must be going nuts. So, anyways, and it wasn't a long drive, maybe 15, 20 minutes. So here I am arriving at his place, and I have to wait my turn. That's the worst part. I have to wait your turn. So I'm sitting there in the basement, because it was in the basement at that time. Yeah, I think it was in the basement. And I'm sitting there waiting. Then he comes over and says hi, because, he heard the door and all this, so he says hi. And then he goes back in, and he's with his client, and it's like, oh, it's taking forever. Anyways, impatient for him. So here I am, first time, right? So I go in, and he was a chain smoker. Cigarette here, and like 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, he could smoke, okay? And I'm allergic to cigarettes. So imagine, okay? It's like, oh my God. Like, suffering or what? So anyways, beside the point. But here I am, sitting there. As I sit there, he looks at me. And he says, so, you can do it too. What the hell is he talking about? And he's looking at me and he says, you cannot tell anyone. I cannot tell anyone. Well, that's not a problem. I won't tell anyone because I don't know what you're talking about. He said, Marcia. Okay, want to freak me out? This is the first time I see him, and I'm barely sitting. I don't even have my behind on the chair yet. And he's like, you have it. And I have what? You can do and hear things and see things, but nobody's going to believe you. Now you have to understand, this is in the 1980s, okay? That's way back when, in the 1980s. And things like this was not common. If you spoke of seeing a reader, okay, all this and that. If you say that you can do things, you're even crazier than they thought you were. So here I am listening to him. So he said, don't tell anyone. So I'm not going to tell you what I saw, okay? But it's like, all right. So that's my first few minutes that I'm sitting with him. Then he goes and he tells me, you know, the 5 doctors you've been seeing. It's like, what? The 5 doctors that you've been seeing, they can't find it? And it's like, no, they can't. And he says, because it's not a thing that they would be able to find. Well, okay, let's say that it's like, okay. So here right now I'm going to need something to drink. So see how that goes. Hold on. So anyways. See, he told me when I have too much negativity, I get sick. Okay. That's possible. He says, yeah, you get sick. Don't you have diarrhea? Mm-hmm. Don't you throw up? Mm-hmm. And nobody knows why? And you have this humongous pain on your right hand side, your right side. And it's like, yeah. And he says, and you've been trying to find out what it was? Yes. They think that you were going to have, and this was from way back when. Now, I was a kid. So he said, this is something that it even brought, and that this is the thing that he said, okay, this freaked me out. They brought you to the hospital, and because it was full, he told me this, because it was full, you couldn't go into the kids' hospital. You had to go back home, and if your appendicitis, I thought maybe that would be it, because they didn't bring me anywhere. If that was it, it would bust, and you could come back. And it's like, and if it keeps on coming, come and see us, kind of thing. It's like, what kind of doctor tells you that in the hallway? But they were full, okay? Whatever. So here I am listening to this guy tell me what I have medically, and I'm at age. I'm not a kid anymore. I was in my 20s, and he's saying this, and he says, it's because that your mom is so negative that it's giving you the option of purging the negativity. So that's the only, because I couldn't verbalize it. I couldn't say anything because you don't talk back to my mom. Don't even try. And it's like, so he said, for me to cope, I would be extremely in pain because I kept it. And then when it was just over too much, I would throw up and I would have diarrhea. Well, you know what? That was every day. Every single day that I had that. So that's why I had gone to see doctors. So anyways, all to say that how he started. Then he at that time was into, you have a piece of jewelry? I'd like to have a piece of jewelry so I can read your piece of jewelry. So it tells me more about you. So it's like, well, the only thing I had, it was a chain, okay? So I give him my chain, and he's holding on to it. And he starts to talk like my mom. Well, hello. Stop. I'm just looking at him and I'm saying, no, shut up. And he's saying, well, this is the same negativity that you're carrying with you that you have to deal every day. And it's like, oh my God, because it was my mom that gave it to me. And I'm just looking at him and I'm thinking, holy crap, I'm not, I'm not coming back here. It's like, but he was just trying to tell me, warn me that there were things coming up. So, anyways, he said, take the chain and do a cleansing on it. Well, that's way back when, in the 80s. How am I supposed to know what a cleansing is? There's no such thing. That nobody talks about these things. So what I did is I went to the jewelers and I sold it. I just, here, take it. Give me something for it. So anyways, I sold it. So, and I don't regret it. Let me tell you, I don't regret it because after that it was way better. It was way better. But that was my experience with another reader. So he told me a whole bunch of stuff that was came from left field. Let's just say it that way, okay? And it's like, wow. And I remember the day that he told me, and he says, you already know. You already know. It's like, oh, what now? What do I know? And he said, your husband, he's cheating. You've known for a while. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, he was right. So sometimes you know things. And sometimes you accept it. But there's sometimes you just don't want to. It's up to you. If a reader tells you, you have to take it with a grain of salt, like they say, because it could be good, it could be bad. It has to be delivered in a good way. I call it in a fluffy way, in a kind sugarcoat. My sister-in-law already heard that before. Sugarcoating it, because you can't go and go boo, okay? So not like the other fortune teller that told my friend about whatever. It's like, ooh, don't do that. So anyways, I'm just telling you my little stories here. And I hope this makes sense to you, where I'm going with all this, because it was just something that I was thinking of, that I'm wondering, have you ever gone to a fortune teller? What was called once a fortune teller, and now it's called a reader. Have you ever gone to one? Did you have good experience? Or not so good? Would you go back? I'm asking you that. I've seen a few. I've been to some at the holistic fairs. And one night, well, it's not, well, usually afternoon that I go there. I went there in the afternoon, and I have a very hard problem staying there. I need to go sit in where the steps goes upstairs, and I'm over the crowd, because there's so much negativity. There's so much bickering at each other. Like, you don't see the bickering, but they're bickering like, why did he have this so many people and I got nobody here, and that kind of thing going on. Anyway, sorry. Me going somewhere else. But I went to a reader there, and she says, oh, I'm sorry, I can't read you today. Okay. And then I thought, well, no big deal, there's more readers, right? So I go to another one, and I'm sitting there, and she starts to do the card things, and she's looking at me, and she's telling me something, and I said, no, that's not me. She gives me more cards. Nope, not even close. More cards. Nope. Well, I can't read you. I guess you can't. It's like so simple, right? I go to this young little girl, and she was at university, and she wasn't feeling very well, and there wasn't many people there, so I thought, she looks, she needs the money. So I go there and I sit down, and then she starts to shuffle the cards. Nope, I can't do you. I'm too sick for this. It's what? No, it seems that I can't read you. So, goodbye. I'm just going home. I'm sick anyways. It's like, what the hell? That's three readers in the same day. And that sort of spooked me out. It's like, why can't they read me? Well, sometimes it happens. So, anyways, again, hope this helps someone that you know that if you do go to a reader and that person's not quite what you expected, or if they're, fishing for questions and answers, like if you went like, oh, and then, oh, well, they'll fish you in, so don't go. Just try to be flatline. That's what I do, anyways. And I have had people read for me that were, I don't know where they were, but they were with me. They must have been, let's say, not in their right mind, because they kept on saying things that you would just pick out of a hat, in a hat, and they would say, oh yeah, it's going to be a sunny day today. Oh yeah, this is going to happen today. Oh yeah, it could have been for anyone, and I don't think they understood that okay, one thing I can do is read minds at that time. Okay, I used to do that. I could read minds. So when they were going to say something, I already knew what they were going to say. Anyways, let's just cut it right there. So, sending you energy, love, and a great big hug to you, and yes, that's you. Bye now. Hope you watch next time.